The hardest hit, Latvia's workforce collapse. Migration patterns following economic opportunities have created a perfect storm in Latvia. This small Baltic nation has watched its young workers steadily depart for Western Europe since joining the EU, contributing to what will become the most dramatic workforce reduction in the European Union. The numbers are staggering. Latvia is projected to lose over 1/3 of its working-age population by 2050, the most severe decline among all EU member states. Latvia's population has been consistently shrinking since 2003, with official statistics revealing an 18% decrease between January 2003 and January 2023, one of the largest relative population declines within the EU. This demographic shift began accelerating after Latvia joined the European Union in 2004, when citizens suddenly gained access to labor markets in wealthier Western European nations, offering substantially higher wages. In the small town of Valmiera, this exodus is painfully visible. Once a thriving regional center with bustling shops and restaurants, the main street now features multiple vacant storefronts. Local business owner Maya Kalnins has watched her customer base dwindle year after year. First my neighbors left, then their children. Now I struggle to find employees for my cafe, she explains. Young people simply don't see a future here anymore. What makes Latvia's situation particularly alarming is the convergence of multiple demographic factors. The country faces a triple threat: significant emigration, an aging population, and declining birth rates. This combination has created a labor market that is increasingly constrained, with fewer young people entering the workforce each year, while the number of retirees steadily grows. This outflow created a brain drain, where the most productive members of society, often those with higher education and specialized skills, leave for better opportunities elsewhere. For a small country like Latvia, with a population of less than 2 million, this loss of human capital has profound implications for future economic development and innovation. The constraints in Latvia's labor market are further complicated by geographic mismatches between where people live and where jobs are located. Job vacancies are heavily concentrated in the capital city of Riga, while regional areas often have higher unemployment rates. This spatial mismatch is exacerbated by inadequate transportation infrastructure and a shortage of affordable housing in Riga, creating barriers that prevent regional workers from accessing employment opportunities in the capital. With each passing year, the pool of new labor market entrants shrinks while the number of retirees grows. This shift places increasing pressure on social security systems, healthcare services, and pension funds, creating fiscal challenges for the government. Family structures contribute to these pressures as well. Latvia has the highest crude divorce rate in the EU, with 2.9 divorces per 1,000 persons recorded in 2022, potentially influencing family formation and stability, which can affect birth rates and population growth. The Latvian government is responding to this demographic crisis with a series of labor tax reforms designed to stimulate economic activity and increase employment growth. These reforms target approximately 95% of the working population by boosting net incomes, especially for those earning up to 2,500 euros per month. One key element is a restructuring of the personal income tax rate, unified at 25.5% for incomes up to 105,300 euros. The government is also incrementally raising the minimum wage from 700 euros to 860 euros by 2028, hoping this gradual increase will help retain workers who might otherwise seek higher wages abroad. Additionally, they've introduced a fixed non-taxable minimum income that will eventually reach 80% of the minimum wage, effectively increasing take-home pay for lower-income workers. These policy interventions reflect the urgency of Latvia's situation. By making it more financially attractive to work in Latvia, policymakers hope to retain existing workers and potentially attract some of the diaspora back home. The International Monetary Fund has taken note of Latvia's situation as well. In its 2024 Article 4 consultation report, the IMF emphasized the need for structural policies to enhance productivity and resilience. Their recommendations focus on promoting training and labor mobility in priority sectors like green transition, digitalization, and healthcare. The IMF also suggests considering measures to adopt technology, including artificial intelligence and strengthening migration processes to address labor shortages. Gender inequality is another area with potential for improvement. By increasing labor force participation for women between 25 and 44 years of age, Latvia could tap into an underutilized segment of its population and partially offset the effects of its broader demographic decline. The IMF also recommends reducing employment protection regulations that might be hindering labor market flexibility. Latvia's experience illustrates how quickly demographic change can transform a nation's economic outlook. The projected 35% reduction in working-age population by 2050 represents an existential threat to Latvia's economic model and potentially its viability as an independent nation. What makes this situation particularly challenging is that demographic changes unfold slowly but have tremendous momentum once established. Even if Latvia were to dramatically increase its birth rate tomorrow, it would take decades before those new citizens enter the workforce in significant numbers. Latvia's situation raises profound questions about the future of smaller EU nations facing severe demographic decline. Can targeted economic policies like tax reforms and wage increases truly counteract the powerful pull of wealthier Western European economies? Is there a point at which a country's workforce becomes too small to sustain essential services and economic functions? What happens to national identity and culture when a substantial portion of the population lives and works abroad? The Latvian government faces difficult policy choices with no easy solutions. The tax reforms and minimum wage increases represent important steps, but they may be insufficient given the scale of the demographic challenge. More radical approaches might be necessary, including aggressive immigration policies, substantial investments in automation and productivity enhancement, or unique incentives to attract and retain workers.